All right, welcome to another edition of Danny's Hot Takes. Today we'll be reviewing Psychic Awakening, Saga of the Beast, and specifically we'll be reviewing the Orc side of the new book. I hope you guys are as excited about this as I am. John?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, we're both very excited.
I love this book.
So I'm Danny. I'm with the Mob Rules podcast. This is my co-host John, and we're both going to be giving a hot take of the rules. Like all of our other Codex review videos, we will not be going over the fluff. If you want to read the fluff, highly encourage it.
The only important part is he got his head cut off, but he got better.
Yeah, he sure did. He Black Knighted the shit out of that, and he was fine. He was totally fine. Just jokes on you guys. All right. So the Orc rules. So both John and I have played Orcs for like a pretty long time. Yeah.
Yep.
One of our favorite armies. So I was very excited to see what new rules they were going to get, and I was not disappointed. I really like all the rules for these guys. They're really fun. So let's dig in. So let's go over what we're going to go over today. So we're going to go over our new and updated units. Also, we're going to go over stratagems, the specialist mobs, and custom jobs and clan psychic powers. Finally, John is going to be rolling up his own personal war boss on the custom name generator. All right. First section here goes over some fluff for some of the units, but then it goes right into the rules. Ghazghkull, you know him, you love him. He's massive now. He's on an absolutely gigantic base, and he's ready to punch your face off. He's now a monster, so he's not infantry, so a lot of his buffs don't work on him particularly, but he does give some insane army-wide buffs and really is just a solid beat stick. And I think he's pretty hard to kill, too, as long as you're willing to put the CP into it. Orcs, generally speaking, do cost a lot of CP to run, so whether or not you have CP to keep him alive, I can't answer that question for you.
Build a better list.
Yeah, sure. You should build triple battalion or something. So he has a variant movement rate and also a variable strength value, and then he also has variable attacks. His attacks, though, go up as he takes wounds, so you want him to have less wounds so that he gets more attacks, right? I mean, that only makes sense.
There's that fine line when you're trying to regenerate one wound instead of D3 wounds.
Yeah,
you get really mad when you regenerate 3.
I think you really want to keep him right at the middle level. I think that's where he's probably the best. That's where he's strength 6 and attack 6. And he's got just a brutal close combat weapon. So his first weapon is Mork's Roar. It's a 36-inch range assault 12 gun with strength 5, AP -1, and 1 damage. So it's like 4 big shooters strapped together, and they also have AP -1. Very, very good. And then you've got Gork's Claw, which is his power claw with no minus to hit, is -4 AP instead of -3, and is 4 flat damage instead of T3. So he hits pretty hard, I would say.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. He is, actually.
No, damn it. I hate that term so much.
All right. He has the Great Wall ability, so any Orc infantry, regardless of clan, this is important, can advance and charge within 6. And if they do charge within 6 inches of him, they also get +1 to their attack's characteristic. And they don't have to stay within 6 inches of Ghazghkull to get that. They just have to start within 6 for their charge. Then you have Dabas's Watching. So when a friendly Orc unit within 6 fails a morale test, and again, not clan specific, he can bash heads, they take D3 mortal wounds, and they pass the morale test anyway. So this is for Gretchen, this is for anything, and it doesn't matter what clan they are, he will stop them from running away. His most important rule for survivability is the Prophet of Gork and Mork. That gives him a 4-up invulnerable save, and he can only lose a maximum of 4 wounds in each phase. So being a 12-wound model means that you can target him separately. So this rule actually really gives him some decent durability. Like, it's probably going to take you at least 2 turns, probably 3 turns to do any meaningful to actually take him down if you're going to try. But yeah, he's really not easy to take down. And then you have Goff is the best. Reroll to hit rolls of 1 made for Goth Orc units within 6 inches for melee weapons only. Really good because Orcs don't really have a lot of places to get rerolls. So I think this makes Goths even hittier than they already were, and they were already by far the hideous clan that there was. And then finally you have Grand Warboss. So this is very much like Shadow Sun special rule, where you can put them in any detachment and not lose culture benefits. So you can put him in with like Bad Moons or Death Skulls, and you still get all the Death Skulls or Bad Moons benefits. He just doesn't get them, and he also doesn't give Goth benefits unless he's in a detachment with all Goths. So he's pretty decent. He's pretty expensive too, though. He's 285 points. So I think he's worth it in a lot of places. I don't know if he's worth it in every single army, but he is really cool, and I will definitely be fielding him a couple of times, at the very least, just to see if I like it, and I probably will.
I think he's a great distraction. I mean, he needs to be built around on your list in order to really work, and especially at 300 points.
Yep.
Like, he's tough, he's not invincible, but if you build around him and buff him in a way that makes him that viable distraction Ghazghkull, so the other 1,700 points of your list can run around and do stuff, then he's just amazing.
For sure. Yeah, so solid. All right. Let's see here. So then you have Makari. So Makari is this little man or wava.
How many points is Makari?
Makari is 65 points.
What?
Yeah, he's really pricey. So if you want to take both of them, it's 350 points. Makari, pretty... I mean, not standard profile, because nobody knows what a Grot hero profile looks like. But he's got toughness 3, 4 wounds. He's got 2 attacks. He's got Makari Stabba. If he rolls a wound roll of 6 or better, he does D3 mortal wounds instead of 1 damage. So that's a net gain. And then he's got Ghazghkull's Waw Banner. So unlike a normal Waw Banner, which gives a +1 to hit within 6 inches, this gives you the... the Pain Boy benefit within 6 inches. So as long as Makari is within 3 inches and the unit is within 6 inches of him, they get a 6-up feel no pain. So this is also for Ghazghkull, which is good because Ghazghkull doesn't benefit from the Pain Boy's 6+ ignore wounds aura. So really solid. I mean, that's really good. Then he has accidental figurehead. Which friendly Graf Gretchen units can use his leadership within 12 inches of him. That's pretty good. He also has the suspiciously lucky rule, so he has a 2+ invulnerable save. So yeah, good luck killing him. And then you have Keep Up. At the start of your movement phase, if this model is within 3 inches of Ghazghkull, he gets +2 movement, so he becomes movement 7. Because Ghazghkull does start at movement 7 right off the bat.
They want him to keep up.
Right, yeah. That is the actual rule. Yeah. Thank you, yes. So yeah, I think he's pretty good. One thing that's interesting about him, he does not have the same Grand Warlord ability that Ghazghkull does. So, and it's not one. It's not one unit, so you can take Makari separately from Ghazghkull. I think he probably should have like a rule that says that you can include him.
But if you put him in a Death Skull,
right, then you'll lose the Death Skull benefits.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know. Maybe that's probably FAQable to fix that. I think that's something that people will see and notice. That's unfortunate because it would be really fun if you could do that. But anyway, but both of them together do take up 2 HQ slots. So they will fulfill like all the HQs that you need for a battalion, or two in a Supreme Command. So if you wanted to make him Goths, you could. That's probably not a terrible idea. Let's see. Then you have... so anyway, they're decent. They're a lot of points. 65 points is a lot for Makari. That's more points than a Weird Boy. But
like 3 units of Grots? 2 units of Grots?
2 units of 10 Grots. Yeah, it's 20 Grots or him. It's pretty close to the same amount of points as a Pain Boy. But it gives a better bubble. So he does have that going for him. I think that's a pretty good... And he's a hard character to kill with the 2+ invulnerable save.
So 2 up, 4 wounds. T3 is really annoying.
And he also gets to ignore wounds on 6s.
Yep.
When he's close to Ghazghkull. So yeah, he's fine. Anyway, then you have probably the most welcome addition.
The returning favorite.
The returning champion. The Big Mech with custom force field. So Big Mac with custom force field, same stats as he ever had. He gets a Grot Oiler, which is great. So that gives him an ablative wound for 4 points, which is you're definitely going to buy that. He is 55 points, and I think he has to pay for the custom force field, but I'm not 100% sure on that because it's part of his special rules. It doesn't say it's something that he's equipped with. I assume like Spirit Stones, though, that you have to pay for it if he has the special rule, because that adds 20 points to his cost.
Maybe. But if it's not in there as a listed piece of war gear and it's just a special rule now, that's a huge buff.
That's, yeah, a 20-point decrease on him would be great, and probably needed, I would say. But yeah, he's fine. He's just like he ever was. He doesn't have any war gear options, though, which is also fine. He is what he is. So just a really great support character. For your army. Really increases the toughness of your units.
He's no Makari.
You're right. He's not. You got me there.
Yeah.
Owned. All right. So Orc stratagems. Man, was I excited to read these. These are all so fun, dude. I love them. So the first one I'm going to talk. The first one is custom job. So custom job. Use a stratagem before the battle. You can have an additional custom job. The custom job that you include must be different, and custom jobs you give must be different and given to different units. So note that there is no maximum number of these that you can take. So if you wanted to spend 12 CP and give every single one of your units a custom job, hell yeah, go for it. So really, really solid. And we'll go over the custom jobs, and I really love them. They're so much fun. And then you've got the Cleverest Boss. So this allows you to upgrade a Big Mech unit in your army and give them +1 wound and +1 attack, and give them 2 up weapon skill. You can use this only once per battle, and only if you don't have Big Mech Buzzgob, which is a Forge World character.
It's really nice for putting that in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that quite a bit, and I think that's very powerful.
What's really good for like if you narratively want to take your Orc faction to be led by a Big Mac,
sure,
have like the biggest powerful Big Mac. Then
heck yeah,
with
like
the War Boss.
Put him in mega armor, give him like the coolest shooting weapon you can or whatever, and a power claw because now he's hitting on 3s. That's pretty cool. And it more or less makes him into a war boss, like stats wise. Well, he's got less strength, but that's fine. He doesn't need to be strength 12.
It's power claw,
right? Yeah, very very cool. I think I like it on. I kind of like it on a shock attack on Big Mac.
Okay.
Because that makes him 5 wounds, and that's pretty good. That's kind of a good threshold. Like it's a lot harder to kill a 5 wound character than a 4 wound character.
Math.
Yep. All right. So then you have next one. This one is great. Grot Bumper. So this is on the Boomdaka Snazwagon, and actually I'm going to go back a second to go look at a picture just to show you. You can see here we have the Boomdaka Snazwagon, and you can see that it has this grot tied up here in the front, Mad Max style, to the front of the vehicle, and that's what this stratagem is all about. It's all about that grot, guys. So it's called Grot Bumper. Use this stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when an attack with a ranged weapon successfully wounds a Boomdaka Snazwagon model in your army. The saving throw is automatically passed. Don't roll.
That is
Each
amazing.
unit can only use this in this stratagem once per battle. I think that's great.
Though.
Yeah, you kill the grot on the front of it.
Imagine like the harpoon from the Night Valiant just shooting.
Oh
like,
man, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
just took out a grot.
Yeah, get out of here with that. I'll pass. Hard pass. All right. Then you have temperamental shock drive. So use this stratagem in the shooting phase after shooting with a shock jump dragsta, and then immediately advance and roll 4+. So basically, you teleport away.
So good.
Yeah,
fire and fade.
Awesome. So cool. Yeah, it's like the most dangerous fire and fade in the game. Let's see, and then you've got the biggest boss. They preview this one. This one's amazing. Pick a war boss, give them +1 wound, +1 attack, and a 4 invulnerable save for 1 CP. It's every war boss's dream to have more attacks and a 4+ invulnerable save, which is not something that really you find anywhere in the Orc Codex outside of Ghazghkull.
Do you remember, like back in the days, trying to figure out ways to give Orcs invulnerables that
right.
wasn't a killer
like a void shield generator or whatever else you could take? Yeah, and now you can give your war boss an invulnerable save. So this is really solid on a war boss on Warbike, because that puts him to 8 wounds, which is pretty gnarly.
Can you use that on the Forge World by
You
class?
sure can.
Oh,
so that's on Zadsnark. So that makes him 9 wounds. He's got like 6 attacks.
That's like the perfect number of wounds.
It's
as well
perfect.
To not
It's
be
very.
targeted.
It's a perfect number of wounds. In fact. So yeah, really good. Way worth it. 1 CP for Clever Spanna. They did preview this. I'll talk about it for a second. I think it's really good. So you pick it on a unit of Ludas or Burna Boys, and they if they have 9 or less models, it's 1 CP, or 10 or more models for 2 CP. If you include any spanners, which is a model that is like a mech model that's part of the unit, but doesn't have like their signature weapon, you can roll 1 extra dice and discard 1 when determining the number of shots for Burnas or def guns for the unit. So you put this on a squad of 15 Ludas. One of them is your Spanna. And you spend 2 CP at the start of the game. Now, whenever you roll shots on these guys, you're rolling 2d3 and taking the best one. That is so good. Like I find myself I roll a lot of 1s when I roll shots for Ludas, so I oftentimes will spend CP to re-roll the number of shots I get, and so this basically helps to mitigate that quite a bit. So I'm usually going to roll 2. I'm usually going to get a 2. I say that, of course, and I'm only going to roll double 1s every time on that. Whenever I roll that now, after spending that CP, I think it's really great. 1 CP. The next one, the Burnin' Highway. This is for a custom Boosta Blasta. So already I really love those models because they shoot fire out of their exhaust ports, and like it's ridiculous and fun. Anyway, when you choose to shoot it with him, all of your burner exhausts become range 10, assault 3, and strength 5, AP -1. So
Can you use that if you are charged as an Overwatch attack?
it says in your shooting phase.
Oh,
so
good,
no.
good.
Nope. Yep.
Thank God.
So basically, this turns 43 regular flamers, which is what the burners are, into 12 heavy flamer shots at 10 inches, which is really nice. I'm a little iffy on the wording on this, though. I think that this probably needs a fact. I'm not sure. I assume that it only replaces these characteristics of the weapon, and not the auto hit quality of the weapon as well. Mm-hmm. I would play it that way. I don't know. Anyway, it says change these characteristics to the unit burner exhaust as follows. So it stands to reason that they mean that.
Just change those ones.
Right. And not the auto hit characteristic. Anyway, still cool.
Precision targeted flamers.
Yeah, right. All right. So next we have Flying Edbutt.
Previewed, amazing.
Yeah, so cool. It's really good on the Burnabama because the Burnabama does 3 flat mortal wounds when it crashes. So basically, you fly the Burnabama up, bomb something. You can also use the wildfire strat, which we'll go over in a moment, and then it explodes and does every unit within 6 inches takes 3 mortal wounds. I think this is probably going to be really good to assassinate characters, especially if you can do it more than once.
Yeah.
So pretty solid. Next, you have Full Speed Lads. So this is after you, in your charge phase, after charging with an Orc Biker or Def Killer Wartrike, add +1 strength to that unit strength characteristic. Pretty good. That makes all your War Bikers strength 5, or your Def Killer Wartrike, that will make him strength 8, which is pretty nice. Actually, it might make him strength 9. I think it's strength 8. Anyway. Then you have Squig Bombs. So use the stratagem in your movement phase after moving a Blitzabama. Add 1 to rolls made for that model's Boom Bomb. I think they're already 4s, so this makes them 3s. So that's a lot of mortal wounds, and it's like 12 dice that you can roll for each bomb. So that's a lot of damage. So not bad. So in a pinch, you can Flying Edbutt that guy and just do D3 mortal wounds instead, if you want to get a little risky.
Precision.
Precision Edbutts. And then you have Special Shells. This is for Flash Gets. I really love this one.
I love these ones.
Dude.
God.
Increase the range of snaz guns and models of the unit by 12 inches, which is really good because the normal snaz guns are only 24. So this lets you set your guys up, like not even necessarily on the line, but pretty close. And you're going to get to shoot with all of their guns on the first turn without having to move them. So they're hitting on 4s or potentially 3s if you have a freebooters detachment that they're in, which is pretty cool. And something else has died. Anyway, I think that's a great one. It's 2 CP, so it's a little expensive, but worth. Then you have Patch Up. Every army should get this on important units, especially units that rely on having a high wound count. This is for 1 Morkanaut, Gorkanaut, or Stampa. Until the end of turn, that model is considered to have double the number of wounds remaining for the purpose of determining what row to use on its damage table.
Nice.
So it doesn't allow you to act on full, but you do get to double wounds, and so pretty much it's going to be acting on full unless it's really, really damaged. Next, you have Unstoppable Momentum. So use this stratagem in your charge phase when an Orc unit from your army has finished a charge move and dealt 1 or more mortal wounds to an enemy unit. If that Orc unit is no longer within an inch of an enemy unit, it can immediately be chosen to charge again. So this, at first glance, doesn't seem like a great one. Like, I would say it's like, oh yeah, okay, well, in the off chance that I do mortal wounds, right, with a unit, which, like, what units do mortal wounds? And then I thought about this a while. All of the buggies have like spiked rams. You can do the stratagem from the Orc book that gives them a 3d6 inch charge and does d3 mortal wounds when they charge. So as long as they kill what they charge, you can pay 2 CP and then move them again. So the potential movement bonus that you're going to get from this is crazy high if you're charging like a almost finished off unit of like 1 guy, and it really lets you get into combat with what you need to get in with.
You almost go from like one side of the table to the other with that.
Yeah, for sure. And think about this too. Even if it's like a squad of like 5 scouts and there's like maybe 4 left or something like that, there's a really good chance that if you pop the stratagem and have a spiked ram, you can do 2d3 mortal wounds to them and finish them off and then charge again. I think that's really cool. So then you've got Wildfire. And so Unstoppable Momentum, I think, is going to be one of those stratagems that is going to be real big brain play to use that one. You're gonna have to really plan that one out, kind of. Anyway, so Wildfire is whenever you use the Burnabombs on your Burnabama, you pick an enemy unit within 6 inches of a unit that you bombed. Roll a d6 for each model in that unit to a maximum of 10 dice. On a 5+, I take a mortal wound. So, man, that's good.
Man, those burner bombers, you're just gonna fly
I think they're solid, yeah.
them, but for 140 points, the amount of mortal wounds you can put out with that thing is ridiculous.
I think you'll probably do like probably 10 or 15 mortal wounds if you want to various different units. So
yeah,
pretty solid.
Your castle.
Yep, got him. All right, then you have Dreaded Death Machine.
Love this one.
Yeah, this one's awesome, dude. So when you pick a Death Dread unit to fight, until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model is destroyed by an attack made from the unit, you can immediately make an additional attack against the same target using the same weapon. You can't generate extra attacks from by attacks that are generated from it. So you can't like keep comboing into extra attacks. So, like Death Dreads, man, like you can put out a lot of pain with this.
Yeah.
Because you can get 6 attack Death Dreads easy, so that's like 18 attacks. There's definitely some ways in here that you can make them hit on 2s. There's actually several different ways that you can do that. With a bunch of Strength 8 and Strength 10 weapons, like you can do some gross damage with these guys. Yeah, I'm into it. I'm real into it. I think that one's solid. Hopefully that makes Death Dreads a little bit more
They need a little
tasty.
Something. I think
For sure.
Stuff in here
That
really
definitely helps. And then you have the Hit 'em Harder, which is for Mega Knobs. And you pay 1 CP, and they get +1 to their damage in close combat. Oh my god, that's so good. That makes the Power Claws minimum damage 2, and it makes the Kill Saws damage 3 flat. Hell yeah. I love it. So I'm very excited about that one. That one seems very powerful. So yeah, so those are the stratagems. John, what do you think of the stratagems overall?
I love them. They're really, like, it's going the usual way, like Psychic Awakening is going now, right? Where they're trying to expand the ways Orcs are played and the way that the army's played. So you're seeing a lot of push towards the buggies, some of the flyers that aren't necessarily heavily used. And then also shoring up some things like flash kits, where, like, I know you and we both love flash kits, but turn 1 is often wasted by positioning.
Right.
And kind of, you're either put him in a battle wagon to get them into range, or you're kind of like staying back a little further. But like for that command point, you were now able to hit them straight away from round 1. And the changes they're making to the Burnabama, I think that kit is going to be crazy popular. And then also the buggy ones are super good.
Yeah, I really like him. I'm a big fan. Obviously, all of these are great. I really like that they tried to make a bunch of ones for the different buggies. I think that's really solid, especially the ones that don't get played well. I guess I don't know. The temperamental shock drive and the burn and highway are both units that get taken quite a bit, but Grot Bumper is so cool.
So good.
I love that one.
So
All right,
good.
so the next one we've got specialist mobs. So specialist mobs are like a build your own orc, detachment or clan. These are really interesting. They're not an add-on to another clan. They're replacement for a clan. So just keep that in mind. Like, you can't take like Pyromaniac Bad Moons or something like that. Like, it just doesn't work that way. The Pyromaniac's Arsonist one, they did preview. This one's pretty cool. It allows you to get +1 on your burner bombs. So like an Airwing detachment with 3 burner bombers seems like a really good choice, and Pyromaniacs, because it gives you, you can reroll any and all the dice for a number of shots, and you get to reroll to wound rolls with burners, which is really good. Yeah, super solid. Then you've got Hunters, which is like almost like a commando clan specifically, but different than Blood Axes
Like
for
the dudes
somehow.
from Predator.
Yeah, but Orcs so bad at it.
It's his bright orange camo. The whole
Yeah,
time.
right. So infantry models, excluding Gretchen, wall model within the subculture is on or within terrain feature. It gets a 5-up invulnerable save, so that's melee and shooting. And when resolving an attack made by a melee weapon by a model in this unit with this subculture, while that model or any model in the target unit is on or within a terrain feature. So basically, if either one of you guys are touching terrain at all, you get to improve your armor penetration by 1.
It's really good.
Yeah, I think that's cool, especially if you're going to take like even Orc Boys. That's going to be really solid on. Let's see. Then you've got Boom Boys. This improves the strength and armor penetration of all rocket and stick bomb weapons. So these are weapons that have the name rocket or stick bomb in their profile. Rocket launcher, stick bomb, chukka, as well as tank buster bombs, wing missiles, cannons, kill cannons, def cannons, dabooma, and lavas by 1. Yeah, so I think that's really good. Note, if you have a combi rocket, you can only use it on the rocket part.
Boo.
Yep. But making all your rockets strength 9 is kind of a big deal. I think that's really good. That'll make your tank busters insane. Like they'll blow away even more than they already were. They were already so good. Is this worth taking over Bad Moons, though, so you get a second shooting phase with them? I can't answer that question. That would be up to you. But I think it's probably worth some consideration on that in that respect. All right, then you've got Flyboys, which is Crucial Velocity. This only affects fly models. When resolving an attack made by a ranged weapon against a unit in this subculture that is more than 1 inch away, so basically as long as you're not shooting them in melee with pistols, the unit is treated as having cover. And when resolving an attack made by a melee weapon against a unit with this subculture in a turn in which it was more than 1 inch away from enemy units at the start of the preceding charge phase, subtract 1 to the hit roll. So basically, in the first turn of combat, if they assault you, you're -1 to hit as well. Yeah,
Good.
it's not bad. I think it's fun. Oops, getting the extra pip to armor is pretty solid, especially on like vehicles, like planes more or less, because that's what
Gotta make
that's
sure
kind
your
of
Blitz Bomber survives until it can blow itself up.
Right. It'll also affect Ghazghkull,
Oh yeah.
which is kind of cool. I think that gives them like a 3-up save, which is not bad. Maybe it'll be a 4-up. I think it's a 3-up. Anyway, pretty solid. Then you've got Grot Mobs. They did preview this one today. This is really good. It affects your mech guns. Also, it'll affect your if you have any like Grot tanks or the Grot Mega Tank, it'll affect them too, which is pretty cool. Then you've got Tin Eds. I like this one. This one's one of my favorites because I already like Killicans, Def Dreads,
It's one of my 2.
Morkanauts, Gorkanauts, and Stompas, but it also affects Mega Armor. When resolving an attack with a melee weapon by a model with a subculture, add 1 to the hit roll. I think that's really good, man. Like, that makes your killicans, they're hitting on 4s finally. Finally. And then it'll make your Def Dreads hit on 2s. It makes Mega Armor guys hit on 2s, so 3s with their Power Claws. Or you can put a Wob Banner next to them, too, and then they're back to 2s again.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. And it'll help when you degrade your Morkanaut or Gorkanaut as well to make sure that they can hit on 3s or better. Next, you've got Feral Orcs. John, I know you like this one quite a bit.
This is one of my favorites.
Yeah. And it's really good. War Boss, Weird Boy, Knobs, and Boys only, excluding Biker and Mega Armored models. Models with this subculture can pile in up to 6 inches. And when making an advance roll for this subculture, roll 2 additional dice and discard 2 of the results. So pile in 6 is amazing. Like, that's already a great ability. That lets you put so many boys into their face so quickly. And it lets you get wraps and everything else. Like, it's very powerful. Yep. And then basically the Kraken rule to roll 3 dice with a subculture. Oh my god, that's good.
You roll 4 dice with this subculture though?
No.
No?
When making an advance roll with the subculture, roll 2 additional dice and discard 2 of the results. So you roll 3 dice because you roll 1 plus an additional 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So, man, that's good.
Yeah.
And then finally we have Mad Boys. Man, Mad Boys I haven't seen like since 3rd edition, I think, like, because they were in the Feral Orcs book. This lets you pay. This affects infantry and biker units, excluding Gretchen. At the start of each battle round, roll a d3 and consult the table. So on a 1, they're moronic. So that's like a joke. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, they get cover. Well, they get +1 to their saves, excluding invulnerable saves. So not cover. So if they have cover as well, then they get that as well. Then they have Nuttas, which means they auto-pass morale tests. And then finally, you have Frenzies, which add +1 to their strength characteristics, so they become Scar Boys. All in all, I mean, that seems fun. You can't re-roll the dice for this, though, so you're stuck with whatever you roll. So if you want an extra random table to roll on for your orcs, there's your choice right there.
Slow that game down.
But you only do it for your whole army. You only roll 1 time, so luckily you don't have to roll and keep track of every unit. That would be awful. So specialist mobs, I can definitely see you taking like some specialist. They're almost like specialist attachments. Like, oh man, I want a bunch of burner boys. Let's make them pyromaniacs. I want a bunch of tank busters. Let's make them boom boys. I want a bunch of commandos. Let's make them hunters. So some cool choices there for sure. All right. So my very favorite part of this book is the custom jobs. I think these are so much. They're so cool and so weird and random and fun. And some of them are pretty good, and there's a lot of them.
Yes.
Yep. So you get one of these automatically if you have a a Mech Boy workshop. You get one for free. Otherwise, you have to spend CP on getting these. You have to give. You can't give the same one more than once, and you have to give them. And you can't give two of them to the same unit. However, if you have a unit that separates once they deploy, like a speed mob or a dread mob, all of them maintain that custom job. So that's where you're going to get your most bang for your buck, probably, unless you're going to take one that affects a very expensive model, like a battle wagon or a Stompa or a Morkanaut or Gorkanaut. I think that's where you're going to get your best bang for your buck. All right. So first one, Squighide Tires. So this is for a Speed Freak unit. Speed Freaks, Battle Wagon, Gun Wagon, Bone Breaker, or Truck. Add 2 inches to move characteristic. Pretty cool. Keep in mind that you could do this. Does it say it has to be a vehicle? Nope, just an orc unit. So you can give Squighide Tires to, I think you can give them to your War Bikers.
Nice.
If you want to. So you can speed them up a little bit as well. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Then you've got Souped Up Special. So this is for a Boomdaka Snaz Wagon only. The Souped Up Special replaces the unit's Mech Special and has the following profile. It becomes range 30 inches, assault 15, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage. So that means that each one of your Boomdaka Snaz Wagons in that unit gets an assault 15 weapon. Neat. That's a lot of shots. Good thing they're orcs and they don't. They're only going to hit with like 5 of those. All right. Then you've got the gyroscopic whirligig. This is for shock jump dragstas. You can use their shock tunnel ability when advancing, even if you didn't roll a 4+. So as long as you advance, you get to teleport. And they don't take mortal wounds from the shock jump, which is great.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Fire and fade.
Yep. Well, this one's teleport and then shoot, and then they can, and then after they shoot, they can teleport back. That's actually pretty funny. All right, let's see. Then you've got Sizzly Rivets. This is my favorite one. Basically, the rivets are
adult star.
Sizzly Rivets. Yeah.
There's my orc name.
Got him. All right, so Sizzly Rivets. These rivets were salvaged from a Stompa that was subject to a failed teleporter experiment. No orc knows where it went. All they know is that it made the cannons more killy. So, I don't know. It shoots like ghost rivets. It's for a custom booster blaster. Basically, it means when you make a rivet cannon attack and you roll a 6 to wound, it does 1 mortal wound in addition to other damage. So not bad. A rivet cannon's got like 6 shots, so there's a pretty good. There's a decent chance you're going to get some mortal wounds out of this. I think it's pretty fun too, and I like custom booster blasters anyway. Then you've got the Corkscrew, spelled with a K, and orc. Corkscrew. So this is from Megatrack Scrapchat. This one is probably my favorite one out of all of these. Well, no. Sizzly Rivets is still my favorite. This is my second favorite. This is probably one of the better ones game-wise, though. For a Megatrack Scrapchat unit, the first time the unit finishes a consolidation move, in each fight phase, it gets to fight again. So these guys have like 4 Power Fist attacks, basically, which is pretty decent. That puts out some decent hitting power. So that doubles the amount of attacks they have. So it actually makes them like almost viable assault units. Almost. I mean, they still hit on 4s, and that's the thing that worries me the most about them. Then you have nitro-powered squigs for the Ruckatruck Squig Buggy. When resolving an attack made by the unit's squig launcher or heavy squig launcher, add 1 to the wound roll. Pretty solid. You have Gork's Roar. This is for a Def Killer War Trike. Add 4 inches to the range characteristics of the model's Kilojet and change the type from its burner profile to Assault 6. So basically it gets 6 automatic hits, and it increases its range to 12 inches on its melt gun, which is pretty cool. Then you've got Dabooma, which is a replacement for a kill cannon on a battle wagon, bone breaker, or gun wagon, but pretty much you're going to put this on a gun wagon, I feel like. This replaces the kill cannon. Basically, it turns the kill cannon from heavy 1d6 to heavy 2d6. And so keep in mind the gun wagon does get to shoot its turret weapon twice if it moves half. I think it works with this. It doesn't specify that this is actually still a kill cannon. I think that obviously it is, so it should be able to shoot twice. Then you have the Zag Zap, which is same model, so battle wagon, bone breaker, gun wagon. It replaces a zap gun. This is an auto-hitting zap gun, so it's strength 2d6 auto hits. If you roll a 9 or more for strength, it just does 3 mortal wounds, which is nice. And you get to roll the strength value before you shoot it, so you get to see how strong it's actually going to be. Then you can make your battle wagon, bone breaker, or gun wagon into a fortress. This
like
gives
the
them
word orc.
Yeah, right, and also fortress. Anyway, so
They meant like the utensil.
like a spork.
Yeah, it's a fortress.
Oh, it's made of forks. So this model gains a save characteristic of 3+ and gets a 5+ invulnerable save. Yeah, not bad for increasing your durability for sure. You can also upgrade. This is also for those models. Their Grab-a-Claw to Depincha, which is a melee weapon that is it's an extra attack. It's strength user, so like strength 8 at top profile for a battle wagon. So strength 9. Its range is melee, its type is melee, its strength is +1, so it's strength 9, -3 damage, or -3 AP, D6 damage, and it gets +3 to hit if you target a vehicle or monster. So that means it hits on a 2. Yeah, not bad little upgrade. You've got the Red Rolla, which is for a Bonebreaker model. Replace the model's Bonebreaker ram with the following. The Red Rolla, when it makes a charge move, adds 6 to its attack characteristics until end of turn. This is instead of the D6 extra attacks that it gets normally. So it gets a boatload of attacks with its Def Rolla, which is awesome. Then you have Orcumatic Pistons. This is from, they did preview this one as well. Killicans, Def Dreads, Morkanaut, or Gorkanaut add 3 inches to their movement, and you can re-roll advanced rolls for this unit. Which is cool if you're going to give it to like a unit of Def Dreads and they separate out. At least all 3 of them are going to get all of those abilities. You've got Sparkly Bits for Killicans, Def Killicans, Def Dread, Morkanaut, Gorkanaut. Increase their ballistic skill by 1. This one's pretty cool. Killicans are ballistic skill 4+, so this makes them into a 3+. And if you can give them all like rocket launches, so you can have a pretty accurate volley of rocket launches from these guys, which is cool. Or give it to a model with a lot of shots, like a Morkanaut or a Gorkanaut. I think either of those options are really solid. Note that it's not a +1 to hit; it's a bonus to ballistic skill. So all the things that can overheat and do damage to your vehicle still do that stuff.
Oh.
Yep. Dirty Gubbins. This is for a Killicans or Def Dread unit. If you target them with ranged attacks, they're -1 to hit because of the exhaust that they put out. And then we have the Slug Gubbin, which is just all the DACA in the world. It's a 36-inch range, heavy 24, strength 6, -1 AP, 1 damage. But if you shoot within 12 inches, you get +1 to hit because it shoots a lot. So it's easy. If you're closer, it's easier to hit them, right? Right. So that's solid. That's a lot of shots that hit very well. And like, so the trick with this, I think, is you teleport in the Gorkanaut, like through teleporter, and then you shoot this, so then you're hitting on 4s. Or if you're freebooters, you kill a unit after it's teleported in, and then you can hit on 3s, which is cool. You have the Ghazghkull. This extra crushy claw turns everything into inscripted paste. This is for a Gorkanaut or Morkanaut. With using the crush profile, it makes you minimum damage 4. So anytime you roll less than 4, you're doing 4 flat damage, which is really solid because that's normally a d6. So you could do 5 or 6 as well. And then the final one we have here is the Blitzagala. And so this is for the Stampa. This upgrades your Supagatla to damage 2. So it's an autocannon effectively. And then whenever you roll once per turn, you can reroll the Psycho Daka Blasta ability. You can reroll one of the d6s if you roll so you can't shoot it again, which is pretty rad. Excuse me. So those are the custom jobs.
Yeah.
Man, so
good.
cool. Yeah. All right, and then we have the clan custom psychic powers. So we have Goths. We have Bull Charge. So Bull Charge, Warp Charge 6. Select a Goth unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until the end of the turn, charge distances of less than 7 count as 7 inches. So if you just need to get a 7-inch charge in, you can make sure that is going to happen for sure. Then you have Maniacal Seizure on this one for Deathskulls. This is Warp Charge 7. Pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until your next Psychic phase, when resolving an attack made by that unit, subtract 1 from their hit roll. And when you resolve an attack made by a Deathskulls unit against them, improve the armor penetration by 1. So this is like really close to making Ludas for Deathskulls like way worth it because they'll be -2 AP. That's pretty good. Which is good because Ludas should be Deathskulls. You should see more Deathskull Ludas, not just Bad Moon ones. Even though Bad Moons are the best. Anyway, moving on. So then you have Gleaming Gear.
Yep.
So this is for Bad Moons. Warp Charge 6. Pick a Bad Moons unit within 18 inches of the sticker. Until the start of your next Psychic phase, when resolving an attack against that unit, add 1 to their saving throw, except for invulnerable saves. So really good on like Mega Armored Knobs to take them to a 1+ armor or a 0+ if they're in cover. Pretty solid. That's a good power. Snake Bites. We have Constriction. Warp Charge 6, pick an enemy within 12 until the start of your next Psychic phase. Have the attack characteristics of models in that unit. I find medium value in that. You have to be really close. And then having attacks characteristic is usually not that useful unless, I don't know, it's going to be like -1 attack most of the time against a unit with multiple attacks. Because usually they're getting extra attacks from other things like chain swords. And so those add 1, so you do multiplication and division before you do addition subtraction, so it's not going to affect it by a ton. Then you have Evil Sons, Visions in the Smoke. This is a Warp Charge 6 power. Select an Evil Sun's vehicle within 12 inches of the Psyker. If the vehicle has a wounds characteristic of 18 or more, you need to get a 9 or better. Until the end of your next Psychic phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, you can re-roll it to hit roll. That's pretty solid, actually. Like it's just re-roll it to hit roll. It's easy for orcs to get a bunch of extra bonuses to psychic powers, so getting the 9 or more is not terrible. And being able to throw that on like a Morkanaut or a Gorkanaut is probably pretty solid. All right, then we have Blood Axe's Clever Talk. They did preview this one. So this lets you cancel Overwatch on a unit, and they have to fight last. Not bad. It's very good. It's very good. And then finally, we have the Freebooter Jolly Orcs Glare. Warp Charge 6, pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until your next Psychic phase, have the move characteristic of the models in the unit, and subtract 1 from advance and charge rolls. So it's like almost like a Thunder Cannon. A Thunderfire Cannon. It's okay. It's fine. It'll help you to slow down units from running away from you, so you can get into combat with them a little bit better. I like that part of it. But being in 18 inches means you're already in the danger zone. Now, keep in mind for all of these, you pick these instead of picking a power from the Power of the WAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAA you're not going to get this in addition to any other powers. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing powers for your weird boys. All right. So that kind of goes over the rules, John. Let's make a war boss.
Yeah, 1342.
All right, so 13 is Ghazghkull.
Ghazghkull.
42 is Demaniac. I like it.
That's good. That's good.
These are pretty fun. My favorite one is you can get a guy whose name is Squigface.
Just Squigface?
Yeah, Squigface. It's like Taserface, but with squigs. So yeah, so that kind of concludes our review here. I think overall, man, Orks got a nice little boost from this, at least to different units than were good before. We'll see if, just based on competitive changes, whether or not Orks are going to be better off. I think they're in a better place than they were, maybe 2 months ago. But I don't know if they're in a better place overall than they already were. I think it'll give you different options, and more options is always good.
The buggies all got buffed, but they're still real weak frames.
Yeah, and they're just a little bit overpriced. So that concludes our Psychic Awakening Saga of the Beast review. If you liked our video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on wherever fine podcasts are found for Mob Rules. We have a good old time. We are a 40K podcast with a comedy problem. So we like to make jokes and be fun. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.